Okey, kita jumpa lagi dalam Resensi Saban Sabtu bersempena dengan 2 hari berbaki Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur di PWTC. Semalam pecah panggung, 600,000 dilaporkan mengunjungi ke Pesta Buku Antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur. Dan pecah panggung juga kerana semalam kita berbicara tentang buku ini telah pun diterbitkan oleh Institut Terjemahan dan Buku Malaysia, Why I Still Carry a Guitar oleh Yusuf Islam. Seorang ikon muzik antarabangsa yang kemudiannya memeluk Islam. Dan istimewa untuk Resensi dan Selamat Pagi Malaysia hari ini, saya bawakan tuan punya badan Yusuf Islam sendiri bersama dalam studio. Yusuf Islam in the house. Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the show. So it was box office event yesterday at PWTC.
Very big.
So how do you find it?
We found it, by car, and it was very, very, very easy to find. But the people there were very, very excited. I think they expected me maybe to do a song, but this is not about song. This is about thoughts and about ideas. I think that is more the subject of the book.
Yeah, that's the theme of the book, Why I Still Carry a Guitar. Saya ingin memperkenalkan kepada penonton-penonton semua mengapa saya masih memetik gitar. Ini edisi bahasa Melayunya dan ini edisi bahasa Inggerisnya. Now, Sheikh Yusuf, Why I Still Carry a Guitar, the title itself, but is the book all about music, about guitar, about your turnaround?
Actually, no. I thought about a few titles, but it captures an important issue, which is to do with fiqh. It's to do with evolvement of understanding.
Right.
So I've been a Muslim, since 1977. So it is a long period of experience, and so I think the book is trying to explain for those who just listen to what other people say.
Right.
And I wanted to speak directly, to explain my kind of curvature in this period and how many things have happened, since I embraced Islam.
Yeah.
And also for those people who their eyes are, saying, why is he picking up a guitar again?
Yeah.
So there's a whole philosophy behind that, which is connected to fiqh, and it's a very important subject, which I think a lot of people need to know.
Yeah, but your spiritual journey began quite some time even before your conversion. So is this a summation of? Have you resolved in a way about your spiritual journey?
The spiritual journey never stops in a way, and until you die.
Right.
And then your next spiritual journey or the next home for you is the most important one.
Exactly.
So this is the journey towards the home, and you never stop needing to learn, and you never stop needing to adopt or adapt to whatever is happening to you. So for me, the knowledge or living in the West, which is where I lived for so many years. Now I live in Dubai.
Right.
But living in the West, I understand how difficult it is for people to understand Islam.
Right.
I know that. And if all they have is the newspapers and the media, to explain to them this faith, then they will never ever get the message. So I think I have an important position because people know me as Cat Stevens, and they know my music. They love my music. I've been in their lives, and now as a friend, I'm trying to communicate to them something which I think is very necessary for their peace and future.
So allow me some time to explain a bit about what we have just discussed. Kita berbicara tentang mengapa saya memetik gitar, buku yang telah pun diterjemahkan dari Why I Still Carry a Guitar, tulisan Yusuf Islam, dan sangat berbangga bersama Yusuf Islam. Ia merupakan satu rumusan perjalanan ketuhanan ataupun spiritual, dan hingga ke tahap ini menurut Yusuf tadi, ia merupakan satu perjalanan yang berterusan dan ia gambaran kepada suatu penemuan, dan akan ada penemuan-penemuan baru lagi dalam pengalaman hidup ini, insyaAllah. Mengapa saya masih memetik gitar? How long has the book been in the market, and how was the reception so far?
It's about a year. And it's been really, really very good. I mean, a lot of people, they read it in a day, which is a great sign. You begin the book, you can't put the book down.
Right.
And I think that's a very good sign. And those who have read it have now come to a much better understanding. They have questions because there are conflicting views. Take music, for instance. There are hadith here, there are hadith there. How do you make sense of this when there are some kind of balancing acts to do? So then this goes through the kind of thought process, and really explains that, for the human being, we we have all these senses.
Yeah.
We have these incredible senses. And
Right.
one of the senses is sound. You know, we have taste, we have sight, we have touch, and so then aesthetics is always been a mark of human, you know, idealism. And so when we build a building, we want it to look beautiful.
Right.
You know, when we cook, we like it to taste nice. And sound. Even the Quran is the highest, you know, form of communication. It has to be delivered beautifully. And so therefore, there have been some who have tried to restrict because there's bad music. There's rock and roll.
Okay.
You know, and some of it leads to a bad place. But that's not all music.
Yeah.
You can't judge everything in one bag. And so therefore the distinction between what we're trying to do in the media is to show that there's healthy and good and moral, you know, art, which we have to utilize, because in this age, this is the age of technology. This is the age where people are, you know, communicating through their phones, and that's the way we talk. So it is communication, and we have to learn that language.
Yeah, yeah. It has been a while since your hiatus or your break from the music scene, and then you came back with An Other Cup, one of the chapter in the book itself. That itself, the hiatus, the break from the music scene, has created quite a reaction. Those who approve and perhaps those who criticize about you making a comeback to the music scene.
Yeah.
You dedicated a chapter in the book. An Other Cup is the break. So, how do you explain the turnaround process?
I think that when we see that there is a storm, you know, a storm coming, then we need to protect ourselves. And one of the ways in which I believe we have not protected ourselves is through communication. You know, you can't just lock yourself in the door and expect the world to understand you.
Right.
You know, say, you come to me to understand me. No, you have to go to people.
All right.
And so when you come to this point, then it's an evolvement of that. But then people still want to know about me. And so I have to communicate this.
Yeah.
And I begin with a hadith in this book about the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he was walking with his wife.
All right.
And two Sahaba pass him by, and he says, she is my wife. And they said, Rasulullah, we would never doubt you.
Yeah.
He said, but shaitan moves like the blood.
Yeah.
And I was frightened, I was worried in case you might have some nasty thought.
Yeah.
So we have to offset the reality, which is that shaitan will always try to put bad thoughts about your neighbor, about your brother, about this, about that country. They're trying.
Tentang mengapa buku ini ditulis, ia merupakan perjalanan yang panjang ya. Sebelum ini Sheikh Yusuf telah pun berada di luar arena muzik, kemudian kembalinya beliau ke arena demikian memberikan persepsi yang pelbagai kepada masyarakat, dan ini adalah merupakan satu bentuk komunikasi. Is your how you communicate and how you impart your experiences in the last 30 years or so, dan itu yang cuba digambarkan dalam buku ini. Telah pun menerima liputan yang baik daripada kalangan pembaca, dan ini adalah anda boleh mendapatkannya di Pesta Buku sehingga esok di gerai Reruai ITBM. Now coming back to the process of writing, who do you have in mind when you're writing this? Do you look at the ummah at large, or do you look at people not necessarily the Muslims when you write the book?
I have, first of all, for this book, it is mainly the Muslims, because when I started hearing that there are people talking about me, thinking, because I now play a guitar, that I've gone back to Jahiliyyah.
Okay.
So I have to explain to these people, because they are ignorant and they don't know the fiqh and the issues.
Yeah.
So that is the main audience. But then I know that some non-Muslims will pick this up. And so I make sure I amend, I edit, to make sure that the language that I speak is understood by everybody. So we have a glossary in the back of the book, which explains all these words, you know, zakah, you know, and hajj and umrah, or whatever, so that everybody can understand the book. So it is written for everybody, but with particularly the Muslim in mind.
Yeah, I think it's a very beautiful book. It's not just because of the layout, not just because of the options, the tags, but it's also about the story, the underlying story. And it's about you yourself. we thought that our book fair is already driving huge crowd, but when you were there, it was box office yesterday. You know, pecah panggung, the word that we use. So the book that will come after this book, how is it going to be in any way a sequel? How are you to explain a bit more?
No, it'll be the autobiography, you know, because there's so many details which I was not able to put in this book. This is good because you can read it in one day.
Okay.
You know, but the other book is going to be more detailed. There's going to be more important information, especially those people who are interested in my history as a musician. What was going on, you know, when I was traveling with Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah.
You know, you want to know a little bit about that.
Exactly.
This won't tell you this exactly, but it'll give you an idea. But that will be the detail.
Okay. So kita menanti-nantikan buku bersama Yusuf Islam, buku berikutnya. Saya ingin mewar-warkan juga your schedule. You have a very tight schedule here in Malaysia. I would like to explain that to my audience. Anda ingin mendapatkan buku ini bersama Yusuf Islam. 12 o'clock today, you'll be at Kinokuniya, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Alright. Signing, autograph signing. Kinokuniya pukul 12. Pukul 3 o'clock tomorrow at MPH Putrajaya, Alamanda. Alright, itu mungkin nanti anda boleh mendapatkan pautan dari Reruai ITBM dan juga Facebook ITBM, juga Facebook saya untuk saya memaklumkan lagi di manakah anda boleh bertemu dengan Yusuf Islam. Jarang-jarang beliau berada di sini. Thank you very much for being with us. It's a pleasure, and may Allah grant you all the blessings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So terima kasih kerana kesetiaan anda. Kita akan bercakap tentang satu agenda 9 to 5 pula selepas ini. Kita jumpa lagi dalam kesempatan Resensi akan datang. Assalamualaikum.